Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
He's alive!
Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Jessica. I met her at CryptidCon, and she told me this fucking wild story, and I was like, you have to come on the podcast. She agreed, and henceforth, how we got episode 90. Jess has a lot of interesting encounters, experiences, possible Bigfoot sightings. She even had gone through what we can surmise as a possible portal, which is fucking wild. That story is crazy. She also had an instance shortly after this portal incident where she was visited in her home by some sort of demon or evil negative entity trying to remove her soul from her body. And then her angel comes to her rescue, to her aid. And I'm happy that it didn't succeed in removing her. So yeah, that's the story is wild. It's a good one. She's also one of the organizers for Encounter Quest, which I'm super pumped about to go to. I will be vending, so that's April 13th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that, I think. So go to encounterquest.com and get your tickets and come hang out. So if you're in Hamlet, North Carolina area, come say hi. And yeah, so yeah, Broken Branch LLC, Broken Branch Designs LLC. So Jess and her brother Jeff create, t-shirts and stuff like that, and a lot of it is, cryptid based, with cryptid characters on the clothing and whatnot. So go to brokenbranchdesignllc.com and check their shit out. It's really good. And if you end up at Encounter Quest, you can check out, a lot of the stuff that they sell there too, because they also will be vending. So yeah, she did say that Ron Moorhead will be a special guest. So if you're interested in seeing Ron Moorhead speak or buy his book and meet him and stuff like that, he will be there at Hamlet, North Carolina at the Encounter Quest. So it should be a good time. Yeah, so if you like today's episode, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. That is like pretty much the best way to help this show grow. Leave a rating and review. I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. You can leave a rating and review on the website as well. That is where the weird ones are, podcast.com. I have a blog up. There's a picture gallery of everyone rocking the merch. And I grabbed my sweater like it has the merch on it, but it's my hat today. There is You can get to the store, the merch store, through the website. And there is a chat room, but you have to be a Patreon member. So Patreon is weirdos only. Go check it out if you're interested. There's the episodes come out like a day earlier on the Patreon, and there will be extra segments, including Conspiracy Tuesday will be moving to Patreon only. And I'll do an extra segment called Story Time, where I just tell you a story in a story way, whether it's true crime, ghosts, cryptids, stuff like that. So, but what else? I'll be at 40 and Fest here in Sanford, Maine. If you're in the area, come check it out. Go to 40 and Fest on Facebook to get your tickets. It's again right here in Sanford, Maine at the Memorial Gym on June 8th. So come check us out if you're in the area and you want to come visit. We'll be vending that as well. So anyways, so I hope you guys have a good day, have a good night, whatever time you fucking decide to listen to this shit. And I hope you all are doing well, and I'm super grateful that you are here and that you are alive and well, because every day you draw breath is a beautiful fucking day, even if you don't feel that it is. I promise you. There is somebody out there that is happy you are here. With that, everyone, let's get into it, shall we?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Let's get weird! Weird! Get weird!
What's up, party people? I'm here with Jess.
Hey.
She's a lovely lady I met at CryptidCon, and she's here to tell us some stories, but she also is one of the ladies that had put together Encounter Quest. So, how's it going, Jess?
You're doing well. How about you?
Fantastic.
Good.
Especially now that I'm here with you.
Thank you.
So, if you don't mind, let's get into how where Encounter Quest is right now, like
Yeah.
all the things that you got going on with that right now.
Yeah. So we've got 5 speakers. We've got Ken Gerhardt, Lyle Blackburn, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Ohio Night Stalkers, and Alex Dietrich. They're all 5 going to be speaking on Saturday. So the MCs for the event, we have Cryptids of the Corn. Mm-hmm. And then we have an honorary guest, which is going to be Ron Moorhead, which I just actually announced that today.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that. I didn't see that today, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be very cool. So basically it starts Friday, April 12th. At 4 o'clock from 4 to 6, Cryptids of the Corn are going to be doing a plaster casting class, which is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
They're going to basically teach us how, like their technique on how to do casting. And then you're going to be able to cast your own foot if you want, or they're also going to cast themselves. Like, so if people don't want to do their foot, they could do like something else. And so that cast, you get to, once we make it, we're going to leave it there so that it can dry overnight. And then the next day, you get to take your cast and you can go to the event and get the speakers to sign your cast, which would be pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. So that's Friday from 4 to 6, and that's only $10. We're just getting $10 from people just to collect for the cost of the supplies. Yeah, and so then after that, from 6 to 8, we're doing a meet and greet with the speakers. Ron Moorhead is also going to be at that, which is really, really cool because he didn't have to be, but he's going to come as our guest of honor. Yeah, so all the speakers will be there, and that's the Taco Factory is going to be catering that. So that's going to be delicious. So it'll be like a taco and nacho bar, and that's going to cost $30 a person. That should be a lot of fun because you get to sit with the speakers and just shoot the bull. Talk to them, tell them your stories and stuff. So so that's till 6 to 8 Friday, and then on Saturday is the main event. Oh yeah, by the way, this is all happening in Hamlet, North Carolina. Forgot to say that. And so Saturday, April 13th, we'll have vendors. They'll be inside and outside. The Cole Auditorium is where this is going to take place, and I can't say enough how amazing that place is.
Oh my God, it's a gorgeous place.
It really is. The auditorium seats almost 1,000 people. It has like a movie theater, like projection screen. It's like a 20 by 30 foot screen. The sound is amazing. It's where like every year they do the Nutcracker there, so that kind of can give you a perspective as to it's a really nice facility. It's at the Richmond Community College that has the Cole Auditorium there. So, so Saturday, doors open at 9 to start shopping the vendors, and then at 10 o'clock is when the speakers start.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 to 5, and then I think 5 to 6 we'll do like the Q&A. But we'll do like raffles and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll also have the Shenandoah Squatch there. He dresses up as Bigfoot and rides a one wheel, which is really awesome. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll also have a 13-foot, like an inflatable Bigfoot. It's like 13 feet tall. That'll be outside too, so you can get your pictures taken with it and stuff. So,
wow.
Yeah, really, really looking forward to it. Last year was fun. It's just it rained and it was windy.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, which sucked, but it's like we can't help the weather, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The government might, but we can't. So, we just
That's funny.
had to do what we could kind of thing. So roll with the punches. But hopefully this year it'll be a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're praying for. So, but yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Perfect. I remember, so Encounter Quest was my first ever event that I've ever physically gone to, so I didn't know what to expect, and
awesome.
It was really well. It was really, I thought it was done well.
Thank you. I feel so honored that you were there. That's so cool.
There was
that was
a
your
guy.
First one,
Yeah, it was
so cool.
There was a guy outside that had the wood cutouts of like Dogman and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna go check him out, and because it rained so much, he like just packed up.
Yeah.
I don't know if he left or what, but
I hate that because we're vendors too. Like my business partner Kim and I, we're both vendors. That's how we met, and we were like, hey, you want to do an event together? So that's how we kind of got into it. But yeah, so we totally understand. Totally, I felt horrible. So with all the vendors that we could that were outside, we tried to squeeze them up underneath the the little roof part right out front. The covered porch area, if you will. But that was supposed to be, we were going to put like tables out there for people to sit at and eat, like during lunch.
Yeah.
But we of course wanted to move the vendors up there, so that kind of had to, unfortunately people didn't have a place to sit and eat really, which stunk. So we're gonna, try to smooth that out this year, just in case it does rain. We'll try to put some tables inside. Maybe, I don't know, we'll get it straight. We'll figure that out. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been telling everybody about it in
Thank
every
you.
episode since
Thank you. That's awesome.
CryptidCon. So
awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hopefully, I mean, it's going to be a good turnout anyway, just because of your speakers. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't know who Ron Moorhead was when I went to Encounter Quest.
Yeah.
And after the fact, I found out who he was, and I now I know like what he's about and stuff.
He's
And I
like
was
the
kind of kicking
godfather.
myself. Yeah, I was kind of kicking myself in the ass because like I wanted to get a picture with him. I was like, I had an opportunity if I just knew who he was beforehand.
Oh my gosh. Here I am, one of the co-hosts. I had his book that I had bought like a year ago. I had it with me the entire weekend. I had it with me for him to sign.
Yeah.
Never got him to sign. I never got a picture with him. And I was there the entire time.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
That's so funny.
Yeah, you can get one this time.
Yeah, I did I did get to drink with him after the fact.
Did?
Yeah, we all went to the Holiday Inn that was like right across the street or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of us. There was the guys, the Rick and them, Rick and April from I Know Squatch.
Yep.
And then there was another speaker, and then Michael Thompson, the author, and stuff, and we were all just drinking, and then I got a headache, so I got really quiet and stopped talking to people, and I was like, oh man, I need to go to bed. So that kind of stunk.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to this year. It'll be my first ever vending event too. So you were my first ever event to go to, and now you're going to be my first ever vending event.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because Kim and I are both vendors, we really, really try to take care of our vendors that come. Yeah. So like we do, we will come around and give waters. My sister-in-law and niece and nephew, they'll come around their little wagon and hand out waters to the vendors. And then the vendors will get like a free pastry for breakfast.
Oh, nice.
Just to kind of say thanks for coming. We appreciate you, because it wouldn't be an event without vendors. So
that's true.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate them.
Is your brother going to be there too?
Yep.
All right, cool. Because I want to talk to him again.
Yeah. Jeff's my business partner, and with Broken Branch, and then we have an older brother who has never been into Bigfoot, any of the cryptids. He's always like poked fun at me and Jeff. Joel's his name. But yeah, he helped out, and he's coming over to our side now that he's been to a lot more events.
Yeah.
So
nice.
So it's cool. He and his girlfriend and their son, they helped us out a lot last year.
Good.
And we also had like they were helping the vendors bring in their items, so that the vendors didn't have to keep toting in all their stuff. So we'll have volunteers that will help to bring in your stuff as well. So we just want to do everything we can to help the vendors out.
Nice.
Because
that's nice of you.
We try. We want it to go as smoothly as possible for everybody. So we just kind of took what we had done last year and made some tweaks to it to try to help the flow, like of customers coming around and such. Yeah. So we'll have speakers, instead of having all of them in the lobby, we're going to have them dispersed. So we'll have some in the lobby and some in the vendor room too. So that
Perfect.
should help to help circulate people better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You should try and hide Ron Moorhead if he's vending too,
Yeah.
so that people go like look for him,
Oh yeah. I can
Put
go
him in
see
the corner
what's on
somewhere.
Ron. Yeah. That would be
uh,
fun. I don't know if he'd
yeah.
like that.
No, he probably won't. The oh, I can't ever remember her name, but the space lady that you have speaking.
Oh,
Um,
Alex.
yes, Alex.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to. I want to hear her speak,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that I can con one of my friends in to sit at my table so I
Oh
can go
yeah.
check her out.
And if not, I mean, we'll have volunteers around. So, like, we get that some vendors just come by themselves. So, we have volunteers that, will help you do, you got to go to the bathroom,
Yeah, yeah,
So, they'll come and sit, while you go and take a break for, do what you got to do. You
nice.
got to eat too.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you just find one of us or one of the volunteers, and they'll help. So yeah, if you're like dying to go see somebody, I'm not gonna. I don't blame you. I want to see all of them.
yeah. I would like. Well, I would like to, but obviously
Right,
not.
right.
But I'll be able to talk to them throughout the day, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Uh, and
and the
if
day,
I
yeah,
leave early enough on Friday, I could probably just go to the meet and greet Friday night too.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that'd be
but
awesome.
I'm gonna bring my son, but
All right,
he's kind of introvert. Actually, not kind of. He's very introverted, so he wouldn't
okay.
be able to like sell any of my stuff. They would just like come to the table, and he would just
Sit
probably
there.
turn around and, and stare at the wall or something. That's what I can picture him doing.
Oh, that's so funny.
But he's starting to get into all this. Well, I was like a wicked skeptic for a
Mhm.
really long time on the cryptid part.
Yeah,
Like ghosts, I believed in my entire life just because I've seen them.
yeah.
But the cryptids and stuff, I was just like, oh, that's kind of wacky. And when he was like 7, 8 years old, he used to watch Finding Bigfoot religiously, and he
Oh wow.
loved the idea of Bigfoot. Um, and I remember being like, why, like saying to my ex-wife, I was like, why in the heck is he watching this, this stupid stuff? She's like, because he likes it. Like, just let him watch it. I was like, well, I'm letting him watch it, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's, it's, it's dumb. But now that I've been listening to podcasts and stuff on, cryptids and stuff like that, I think I
Hmm.
may have had two cryptid, experiences now.
Wow.
And now and both of them happened around the time that I was talking crap about Bigfoot.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So now I'm a
Wow.
believer, and I
Yeah.
believe in like pretty much everything right now.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and
awesome. And
the more people I talk to, I feel like the more religious I'm becoming too.
yeah. Yeah.
Especially talking to Zook and Drew.
Yeah.
Uh, they're like angelic warriors, I guess you could say.
Yeah. They're very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah. It was
love them to
awesome.
death.
Because, yeah, I had met him just through the podcast, and I'd never actually, got to hang out with him, and then meeting you too at Crypticon. That was awesome. That was so much fun. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God,
So
yes.
much fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a blast for
it really
sure.
was.
Yeah.
There was some interesting people there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. That was great. But does your son still believe in Bigfoot? Like, or,
yes,
oh,
yes,
okay.
he does.
Oh, cool.
And I went out investigating in the Huckamuck Swamp. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know that, like the Bridgewater
Never heard.
Triangle in Massachusetts.
Oh, wow. No.
No,
Huckamuck?
okay. Yeah, it's
Wow.
I
No.
guess it's like a wicked, like paranormal, like portal
Hmm.
almost kind of
Oh,
thing.
gosh.
And they got cryptids, ghosts,
Yeah.
possible demons, and
Dang.
angel activity. Um,
Wow.
and I went out there with a friend of mine that I met through the show, and we went out there together. And he has a YouTube channel and stuff, so we filmed one of his YouTube episodes out there, and now my
Oh, that's
son's
neat.
like, I want to go investigate and stuff. So now I just literally bought a spirit box and a video camera so we could go do our
Oh,
own
did
thing.
you?
Yeah, because
Oh.
he's like, I want to go do that stuff. I'm like, are you sure? Because you have a hard time watching horror movies sometimes.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I don't know if he has an experience, he might say, "Okay, yeah, that was enough."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he has zero experiences.
Okay.
But my daughter has a few.
Oh
She
wow.
actually just saw, it was like a couple months ago, she saw somebody standing on my bed as she walked by my bedroom one day.
Wow.
And she's
Oh my
like,
gosh.
it looked like a shadow. And I was like, well, there are shadow people in the house, so.
Dang. Wow. Have you so in your house you've seen them? Like,
Yeah,
wow.
it's pretty consistent up until like a couple months ago.
Huh.
I did like
Wow.
just like little cleanse and
Yeah.
a prayer and whatnot. So, and
Wow.
that's another reason why I'm starting to like become more religious, I think,
Yeah.
because there's obviously power in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's something to that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's like one of the things when like if you meet someone and they say, "Well, Bigfoot is just flesh and blood. That's it."
Yeah.
Like that's literally one of the first things that comes out of my mouth. Well, have you heard the encounters where people say in the name of Jesus or dear God help me or like they call out to God or Jesus and all of a sudden these things turn and walk away. It's like a switch goes off
Huh?
in them. Like they literally feel like they're about to die. They're surrounded by all these Bigfoot, and then all of a sudden they call out God's name, and these things in an instant turn around and walk away. Why is that? You can't say that to a pack of wolves that's surrounding you. I mean, you can.
Yeah, you can, but
And if God decides to make them obey, then they will. But you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
you say it to a Bigfoot, they're going to turn around and walk away. And there's something to that. And same thing with aliens. If you're being abducted, you say it to them, they're going to turn around and walk away. But there are some aliens, and I will say this is so weird.
uh-huh.
But Daryl Sims, our UFO expert from last year, he is
Yep.
awesome. Oh my gosh, we had the best time. We laughed
He's
so hard.
hilarious. He's
He
a
is
hilarious guy.
hilarious. He is awesome. And so like he just like meshed right with my family. Like we hung out. We went to Chick-fil-A afterward. It was great. But he had said something during like because I had watched one of his presentations that I had gotten on DVD, and in his presentation he said he was talking to this lady who kept getting abducted, and he told her, next time you get abducted, reach up and grab the eye and like dig in, like just pull the eye out and off and tell me what you see. And I'm like, what the freak? And he said she did, and it was all like robotic, like electronic, like inside past the
Oh,
eye. Those
wow.
are the ones that do not obviously answer and turn around and leave when you say
Yeah.
in the name of Jesus because it's a robot. It's a machine.
Mind blown. I'd never
Right?
even thought of that
I
aspect.
exactly. Like and that's why one of his slogans, he says whoever's like create he has like this slogan, but he goes down the but whoever is creating them, making them, producing them, that's what he means because there are some that are made obviously because they're mechanical. And I had asked him, I said, what about her story made you say to her to pull the eye off? And he said, I don't know. I just thought maybe one of the ones that keeps taking her might be one of the robot ones. It's so weird. I mean, that just freaking blew my mind for days.
Huh.
Like, yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna think
Because,
about that all the time.
yeah, right. Because you hear about people, they say in the name of Jesus, and yes, these things flee. These things, these aliens, these UFOs, they'll turn around and flee. They have to because you spoke that name.
Yeah.
But there are a handful of them that don't. And so that's got to be the reason why. Obviously, it's a machine. So anyway,
That's
it's just,
interesting.
it really is. It's like you have to keep, if you want to find the answer, you can't just keep listening to the same people. You can't just
Right.
keep watching the same podcast. You got to venture out. You can't just keep, you can't keep listening to the same experiences of, like, because you might go to one podcast and it has Joe Schmo, and then you go to another one, it still has Joe Schmo on there as the guest,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
it's great to keep hearing them, but to hear so many similar stories from different people from all aspects of life is just incredible. And then when you find
Absolutely.
these little morsels like that from Daryl, I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, that answered a huge question of mine, because I was watching L.A. Marzulli. I don't know if you've heard of L.A. Marzulli, but
Yeah.
he has this whole line of the whole documentary on UFOs, and I bought it and I was watching all of them. And his last one ended with a lady who had said in the name of Jesus, but it didn't leave. It still was hovering right above her. And I thought, how could he end like that? But then he came out with the next DVD and such. But anyway, while I was waiting on his next DVD, that's when I met Daryl and I found out about that. So I was just like, that makes so much sense, right?
Sure
And
does.
like with Bigfoot too, you've got all these tidbits of information, and it's piecing it together. Which has been, like, here lately, I have completely done a deep dive into what these things are. Because my background, I am a Christian. I grew up in an awesome Christian home. My parents are freaking amazing. I love them. And they just
Nice.
moved close to me, because I'm from Richmond, grew up in Richmond, Virginia. And then I moved here, to the Shenandoah Valley, like, what, 12, 13 years ago. And so
Okay.
I've always been close to my parents. And so not being able to, be that close to them, physically, to live close to them for the last 12, 13 years has really sucked.
Yeah.
So they just moved near me, just a month ago, 2 months ago. So it's been so nice. But anyway, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm happy. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Because not everybody is that close with their family,
Yeah.
and especially their parents. And I'm kind of one of them.
Yeah.
Um, it just not to get into it. I
Yeah.
just there was issues between my mother and I when I was growing up.
Gotcha.
Um, and I just kind of, like, I don't know, held on a little bit too long, because she was my mom, and then
Yeah.
just to realize, this for my own mental health,
Yeah.
just
Right.
kind of let it go. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyways,
I'm
so
sorry.
I am so excited for Encounter Quest, and I hope everybody listening is also. And
Thank you.
anybody who's in the area definitely needs to come and say hi. So,
Yeah.
um,
Awesome. Thank you.
but with that, have you ever had like a cryptid experience?
I've had a ton of paranormal,
Ton of paranormal. Well,
Um,
I definitely want to hear the story you told me at Cryptid Con.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
want that.
And then cryptid, yeah, a couple. So let's see which one to start with first. So all right, we'll start with the first cryptid one. And honestly, I had no idea what was going on, no idea what happened, because I was like your son. I watched Finding Bigfoot. I watched, everything I could about Bigfoot. Me and my mom actually is really into Bigfoot.
Nice.
She's been into Bigfoot. Like, it's so funny. She's the cutest little lady, and she loves Bigfoot.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so like she got my brother and I interested in it, Jeff, and so like growing up, we'd watch, Unsolved Mysteries, everything we could with Bigfoot, and so, anyway, I don't even remember where I was going with that. But all right, so the first cryptid thing, Jeff, my brother, it was back in 2018. He was like, it was kind of like when podcasts were just starting to blow up, like everyone was talking about podcasts and stuff. And Jeff was like, Jessica, are you still into Bigfoot? And I said, yeah, I am. Me and Mom watch it all the time still. And he said, well, you've got to listen to this podcast I found called Sasquatch Chronicles. So I was like, all right. So I started listening. And of course, within the first 10 seconds, I'm hooked, And so Jeff and I would listen and we called each other up. Oh my gosh, did you hear that one? That was crazy. So it was great. So, anyway, I remember I was listening to a podcast and it was like the light. I was getting ready for work and then I almost like dropped everything. Like I started freaking out because it was like the light switch came on because I had heard a podcast on stuff where it was talking about how Bigfoot can make tree structures and Bigfoot can push over trees, and Bigfoot can mimic other animals. And so to back it up, it was probably in 2012, 2013 maybe. I was going through some stuff. I think that's when it was. Or no, I think it's anyway. 2000 something. We'll just say 2007 to 10. I don't know, something like that. Whatever.
Okay.
I was going through stuff and I started getting into hiking a lot. And I would go to the Shenandoah National Park. And I would stupidly hike by myself. Dumbest thing looking back. I do not recommend that. No female should ever hike by themselves. You just don't know who's out there. So anyway, I went to one of the same trails I always go on. And I had always seen this elaborate tree structure, like towards the beginning of the trail. I'd always seen it. And I'd always thought, that, it's just a dad and his son that were camping and they decided they would build this elaborate tree structure. Yeah. But this particular day I decided, you know what? I'm going to go sit in that thing. It was a huge tree. And I guess like the lowest branches were maybe 3 feet off the ground. And so it had other branches that it had taken from other trees. And it was like intertwined kind of like through those branches to where it kind of formed like an umbrella, right? Like on the bottom. And so it's like a fort, it was like so cool. And so I just climbed in there and I sat and I'm like, yeah, this is really neat. This is so cool how they did this and blah, 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 just looking around. And so I just sat there for, I don't know, a couple minutes. And then I got out, and started walking. So I'm walking and there's nobody else on this trail. There were no other cars in the parking lot. And also, to give a little background on this trail, Shenandoah National Park, you can do a horse ride on trails through the park. It's so cool. It is awesome.
That is cool.
And this particular trail that I was on is near one of the horse trails. So anyway, so I'm walking after I get out of the little tree structure. I'm walking and I go around this turn. And I notice that there's 2 trees that are down on the left. And I had just been there like a week earlier, and these trees were not down. And whenever I would see any even to this day, whenever I see trees that are down and their roots are up, like I want to start digging into those roots to see if I can find an arrowhead or old Civil War coins, anything, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm like a kid in a candy store. I just want to dive in there and get my hands dirty and start looking for stuff. So I'm standing there like, oh, wow. And I'm looking down at these roots and I'm thinking, okay, which tree? Because there are 2 trees down. And I'm thinking, which one am I going to go for first and start digging? And to my right there were about 6 feet tall weeds to my right, like just this brush and weeds, like tall. And I'm standing there looking down like this, and all of a sudden, if a horse could growl, that's exactly what was trajected. And the way it was trajected in my ear, it was like, boom. Like, I couldn't explain it. I didn't know anything about outdoors. I had just started hiking. Mm-hmm. And so I, of course, jumped out of my skin, right? And I put my arms up,
Yeah.
And I faced it, and I was like, just freaking out. And all I knew was just, okay, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to stay looking towards this thing because I don't want to turn my back to it. I don't want to turn my back to go back to the car and this thing come after me, whatever it is.
Right.
This growling horse. Horses can't growl. It was the weirdest noise. I just remember thinking there's no animal on this earth that would sound like that I know of. And the trajectory was so freaky. It was like it was right there. It was so freaky. Yeah. So anyway, jumped up, and I used to play soccer as a kid, so I was used to running backwards. So that's kind of what I did was, walked fast backwards back to my car. And I went back to that that same path, that same trail a year ago. And gosh, I don't even recognize it anymore. Like, it's just so grown.
Nice.
Like everything is just so, like the trees are bigger, the bushes are bigger, everything's bigger. Like,
was the fort still there?
No, that was gone. I know. I was so upset. But yeah, so that was kind of like my, so here I'm getting ready. I'm listening to listening to podcast, and it was like, oh my gosh, I think I might have had, an encounter kind of thing. I don't know what else would be that tall and could growl like that. And that was the other thing too. I almost could feel it like in my chest, like that.
Yeah.
It was so forceful. Like, get out of here, lady. What are you doing? Yeah. So I can
smell you in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then,
have you ever wondered what it's like to hang out with 3 siblings in a bar?
3 siblings that like to tell true crime and paranormal stories and are also hilarious?
I'm Deshay, the oldest sibling.
I'm Sage, the middle sibling.
And I'm Storm, the youngest sibling.
So come hang out with us every Monday for a new episode of Three Siblings Walk Into a Bar, available on wherever you listen to your podcast.
The other time I would say would be when I had gone with someone else to do to research it's a place in Virginia. It's actually a neighborhood. The neighborhood has been having issues. So with Bigfoot, several of the neighborhood kids have seen the Bigfoot. So we went out there to investigate. So we're in a tent sleeping outside in the backyard. And all of a sudden you start hearing, I can't even, like, you hear the footsteps going around the tent.
Yeah.
And I can't even describe honestly what I heard, like it, because it was something like that I've never heard, and it was right beside me, like maybe I'm gonna say maybe 5 or 6 feet from where I was in the tent. And I can't say it was a growl. I can't say it was a snarl. I can't say it was a grunt. I don't know what the freak I heard. It was that weird, but it was strong and forceful. And all I could hear in my mind was, "Are you sure you're ready to see what you came out here looking for?" And when I heard that, I said, "I don't know." I don't think I am, honestly. That's how much it scared me to hear it outside your tent. And like before, like as soon as we got there, there was a huge print right there in the backyard. The daughter had seen Bigfoot right there in their backyard. They had a fire pit, and we were sitting around the fire pit that night, and all of a sudden you heard a huge tree right behind one of us in the circle around the fire. One of the trees right behind them like fell down, and you clearly heard it loud. Like it was very loud, and it was clearly a tree falling. Of course, the next day we tried to find the tree. Couldn't find a tree that had fallen. It's just crazy stuff. So yeah, that was my come to Jesus moment, where it was like, "Are you sure you're ready to see what you came out here to look for?" So hilarious. I think since then, though, I've grown a lot in the cryptid world. I'd say.
Yeah.
Just because I listen to so many podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. I love hearing encounter stories, because really that is the only way we're going to learn. You can't keep your mind just shut off and say, no, they're just flesh and blood. You can't even keep your mind shut off to anything, especially the alien, the alien avenue, because, you just, and that's the one thing I love about Ron Moorhead. He says in his book, at all these events and stuff, he had people, legitimate people, coming up to him and saying, "I'm in the middle of this field. I see Bigfoot, like all of a sudden appears in front of me, and then all of a sudden is gone, like just disappears."
Yeah.
Or you have, the one footprint in the middle of a field with no trees around, nothing, and it's like just this one footprint right in the middle. Like, how do you explain that? And Ron said that's what made him start looking and go down that path of the quantum Bigfoot, and that's how he wrote the book. So I have so much respect for him because he basically, he's proving that he really wants to find out what these things are, and he doesn't care what other people are going to think, like, because people could see that and say, "Oh, you're going that woo, you're becoming woo,"
Yeah.
like the woo people.
That's I kind of hate that term a little
I
bit,
do
you know what I
too.
mean?
I do. It's very
Um,
derogatory, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, I feel like Bigfoot, and I think cryptids in general are, both.
Mhm.
They're obviously when they're here, they're physically, but they're still not of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course. Yeah. I know exactly
That's
what you
just
mean.
that's just like ghosts.
Yeah.
They're obviously here right in front of you. If you see like an apparition or whatever,
Right.
it's here, but it's not here at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
I think Ron Moorhead is a one of a kind of person.
Yeah. Yeah. He really is. And like, and then too, like it's been maybe 18. Yeah, I'd probably say around what 2021 is when you really started hearing more about in podcasts, more about people saying, well, I saw a UFO or an orb right before I saw a Bigfoot, or
Yep.
vice versa.
Yep.
And there were so many people in the Bigfoot world that were just like, oh, yeah, whatever kind of thing, just poo pooing it. And it was so frustrating because it's like, come on, you can't just dismiss that. And that was too like Wes Germer from Sasquatch Chronicles and Tony Merkel from the Confessionals. Like they were both like, you can't dismiss it when you keep hearing it.
Uh-huh.
You got Linda from Tennessee telling one story, and then Johnny from California, and he's telling a story, and they sound so similar. So that's what you got to start connecting the dots that way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So
Absolutely.
anyway, yeah, those are the two. I'd say the two possible cryptid encounters of mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but like
And
the one I was telling you about.
yes.
So,
Yes.
all right. So let's see. So like I said, I've lived here for like 13 years, but like about 3.5 years ago, I moved into this house. And so I've been here about 3.5 years, and it's on a road called Long Meadow Road. And it's a long road. Like I live on one end of the road, and
Is there a meadow too?
uh, there's several. No,
Yeah.
they're if you go from my end of the road all the way to the other end, it's 15-minute drive. Like it's a
Wow.
long road. And so I would say 80% of the road is farms. All farms. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful drive. But anyway, one night I had gone to an event, and I was coming home. It was a Sunday night, and I always call my mom at 10:30 at night. And it was 10:30, and I was on this road, and I'm coming home. So I called my mom. I'm talking to her, and then I'm like, "Wait, Mom, I'm watching the weirdest. I see this blue orb on my right." And she's like, "What is it? What is it doing?" And basically, it was this blue orb in the middle of the field or something, and it's like doing these really weird jagged moves, like just really odd. And then all of a sudden it just shoots up in the air. And so I'm explaining to my mom what I'm seeing, and I was like, that's just so crazy. And I thought, and I even said to Mom, I said, I'm just going to toss that up to maybe somebody's sitting on their back porch. They got a new laser pointer and they decided they want to see how strong it is and they're just playing with it. So that's what that's what I chalked it up to. And because, Mom could tell, obviously, I was a little freaked out by seeing that. So a few days later, I'm going back down that road the opposite way. And I thought, I want to see if this is still Long Meadow Road, like if it changes its name or whatever, because it's a freaking long road. And it does. It's actually called, it turns into Battlefield Road.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's weird, because right where I had seen the orb was a plaque, and the plaque says the Battle of Piedmont, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And so anyway, I I've been I pride myself on being a Civil War buff, but obviously I'm not that great, because there was a Civil War Battle of Piedmont right down the road. So I think that blue orb, like that blue
That's
orb
something.
was in that battlefield.
Yeah.
And I just so happened to see it as I was driving by. So then I also remembered too that shortly after I moved into this house, I had talked with a gentleman whose wife said that she had seen a Bigfoot on Battlefield Road when, I think it was maybe in the 80s. It crossed over the road in front of her, and she said she knows it was a Bigfoot. So now I'm thinking, okay, we got an orb and a Bigfoot sighting on Battlefield Road, which is connected to Long Meadow Road, which is where I live. So,
are you struggling with a lack of access to captivating entertainment and media? Are you faced with constant judgment and ridicule from friends and family for your inability to respond appropriately to sensitive situations? If this sounds like you might be suffering from being emotionally dead inside. But it's not too late to make a change. One Nothing Podcast is a newly available treatment for being dead inside. Taken just once every 2 weeks, One Nothing could make a world of difference. By combining carefully measured dark humor to the amazing original formula of grisly fatalities, One Nothing Podcast has successfully entertained thousands of people suffering from death inside. And with access across all podcast platforms, treatment has never been more readily available. But don't trust my word. Here's some real-world testimonials from a few of our listeners currently undergoing treatment.
From consistent doses of One Nothing Podcast, my posture has greatly improved due to being kept on the edge of my seat.
The One Nothing Podcast comes on, everybody be like, shut the f*** up. I be quiet, but when the episode's over, I be talking again.
Oh my gosh, buddy. I used to be on so many medications for blood pressure, and then I listened to One Nothing Podcast's episode on Kitty Genovese, moved into an apartment on my own, and haven't needed it since. That one really got my blood pumping.
You know, listening to One Nothing Podcast, I'm not constipated anymore. I'm just full of shit.
So what's stopping you from great entertainment?
One Nothing Podcast is not intended for all audiences. Listeners under 18 years of age should obtain permission from your parent or guardian before downloading. Tell your therapist if you're predisposed to whining, complaining, reading podcasts poorly, being overall combative, or being easily offended, as One Nothing Podcast might not be right for you.
So stop letting great content pass you by. Talk to your therapist today to see if One Nothing Podcast is right for you.
Fast forward to, well, let's see, it was June 17th of last year. I had taken my boyfriend to DMV, and we're coming back home, and we turned right onto Long Meadow to go home. And I was driving. I had never driven his truck before, and it was hot. It was June. So I rolled the window down, and I put my arm out, just sitting on the windowsill thing. And as soon, it was very shortly after we had turned right on the Long Meadow that I see this huge silvery circle, like oval. It was a big oval, and it was shiny, like a bubble. Like if you had blown one of those big bubbles as a kid, it looked like that. Yeah, but it was silver. And I didn't say anything to my boyfriend because he is kind of a believer, but not. I mean, he's really, really not. But I tell him all these stories. So I'm trying to, pull him to our side, but he's never had an experience, especially never a paranormal experience. So I didn't say anything to him. I'm just looking ahead because where this bubble is right where my head is going to go. Like my head's going to go through this bubble. Like, and then like half of the other half of the bubble is going to be outside of the truck. So because of the height that I'm sitting in the truck and I'm the driver, it's going to come perfectly to my face and outside the truck. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, all right, whatever's in this bubble, maybe it's a farmer because like I said, there's farms everywhere. So I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of chemical they were using, and this is a residual bubble from that. Mm-hmm. But as we got closer, you could see, it looked like there was a million tiny silver bugs, like with wings or something inside, like just completely. That's what this bubble was full of, is what it looked like, these tiny little silver bugs. So odd. And it was just like kind of waving like that in the breeze, I guess, just hovering right above the road. So I'm thinking, all right, if this is a chemical of some sort, it's going to get on my arm and it's going to come inside, it's going to come through the window. Yeah. And I don't know if anything's going to happen. But it's obviously a liquid. So I'm going to have to feel something because it's going to hit my arm. It's going to hit my arm and my, the windshield. We go through it and I felt nothing. I heard nothing, smelt nothing, tasted nothing, just nothing. It was nothing. And as soon as we go through it, my boyfriend was the one who looked at me and said, "What was that?" And I was like, "You saw that?" And he said, "Yeah, what was that?" And I said, "Oh my goodness." I was so excited that he saw it because I thought for sure he wouldn't have seen it. And so I said, "Tell me," because of listening to podcasts, I was like, "Okay, tell me what you saw first, and then I'll tell you what I saw." So he described everything that I saw, everything. And he thought too, well, maybe it was a chemical of some sort, but yeah, we smelt nothing. And yet the chemicals that these farmers use are strong. You smell them for miles, we didn't smell anything. So I told him, I said, this is a lot of times where you hear on podcasts where a person's telling a story and you're like, why didn't you turn around? Like, cause I've done that so many times. Like, why didn't you turn around? I didn't want to turn around because I knew whatever that thing was, it was not normal. It was not a liquid of what it looked like, it was Yeah, not of this world. And so got home, was, a little freaked out about it, but was just like, well, yeah, we're okay. We're not going to turn around. Just went about our day, whatever. And so that night I fell asleep on the sofa, and it has a recliner on the end of the sofa. And so I'd fallen asleep, and I had my glasses on because I'd fallen asleep. And anyway, there's a wooden shelf thing, whatever you call it, a wooden stand or whatever. It's like 5 or 6 feet from me. And I have the ability to see things through my mind's eye. I've had that since I was younger, like around 12ish. But I'd opened up my eyes, and I could tell with my eyes open, I could tell there was something evil. There's a black presence standing at the corner of that wooden table. And I shut my eyes, and when I shut my eyes, I can see a better picture of it. And it was clearly, a black shadow, black person, a mass. Yeah, not a good one, not a good thing to wake up to. And
No.
yeah, and you could feel the evil from it. And the first thing that came to my mind was, how did this thing get into my house? Because I always pray over my house before I go to bed. Ever since I was a kid, I would pray that the angels watch over us, protect us at night. I would imagine, one angel at each corner, at the 4 corners of the property. I would imagine angels standing on top of the roof. I would even imagine angels sitting on top of me on my bed playing a game of cards while I'm sleeping to pass the night away. Like, that's how I've just always done that since I was a kid. Like, Lord, watch over us, protect us, let your angels watch over us.
Yeah.
And that night, because I'd fallen asleep watching TV, I didn't pray that. And so this thing, so I'm sitting there thinking, all of this is happening in a fraction of a second. And I'm thinking, how did this thing get in here? How? And and then I thought to myself, where's my guardian angel that's supposed to be protecting us, from something like this coming in here? And as soon as I said that, guardian angel showed up, and it stood right behind this thing. And the guardian, I would say the black thing was like 5 feet tall. The guardian angel was at least 6 feet tall, and then had the bigger wings too,
Yeah.
And the angel was right up at its neck. And as soon as the angel got right up to it, the black mass came at me, in an instant. It came at me, grabbed me like this, and pulled me up. And when it did that, it was actually pulling my soul out. I don't know how to describe it.
It wasn't grabbing your body; it was grabbing your
spirit,
essence.
like my soul. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And because I was like disattaching from myself. If that, coming out. Yeah. Like, I felt myself separating, out, and I felt like, it had me like this, and I had my arms were like straight down by my side, like this. I'm like hanging up, like halfway, because it had grabbed me. I was kind of like halfway out, kind of thing. So I'm like, it's so crazy. So I'm hanging like that, and then all of a sudden, the guardian angel came rushing over, grabbed that black thing by the back of its neck, and just shot up straight through the roof. And that was it. It was gone.
Nice.
And when that happened, the black mass let go of my spirit, my soul, whatever. And so I fell back into me, and it was just the weirdest feeling. But obviously, right after that, I started praising God and thanking Him for, for saving me and asking for forgiveness that that thing came in, was allowed in my house. That really bothered me. And the next day, I was really praying and asking God to please, like, why did that happen? What happened? Why, what were you trying to show me by allowing that to happen? And I felt so strongly and so clearly that God said, I allowed that to happen because you forgot to pray. You forgot to pray that my angels would watch over and protect you and keep you safe. And he said, these days, the end time is coming. These days are so important for you to never cease praying. You cannot forget to pray. So that's what I feel. I strongly feel like that's exactly what he was telling me. Yeah, it was an incredible thing to happen, but I'm very glad it did, because I hope to at least touch somebody else's life and let them know the important. It is very important to pray. It keeps you grounded. So
do you think the bubbles and this entity were all connected?
yes. I feel like that was a portal, and I went through the portal, and I've heard of other accounts of a portal, but I've never really heard it. I haven't heard that many accounts,
Yeah.
So I feel kind of naive to, I believe in portals. I know they exist. I know they do. I've always known they've existed, kind of thing. But I didn't know what to look for, I guess, because I haven't heard that many stories about them. But that was absolutely a portal, and I feel like something attached to me. And that was the way it was allowed to come into the home, because I hadn't prayed. And I know better. That's the thing.
Do you think it manipulated you to forget?
Yeah, I think it could have. Yeah, I think it could have.
That's interesting.
What was I going to say? Oh shoot.
Well, while you think of it's okay if it comes back to you, it comes back to you. But I don't remember you saying, when you told me the story at CryptidCon, I don't remember you saying that the bubbles were blue. But now that I think of it, because I think I might have told you my portal experience too.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but when I walked through it, it was like blue. It turned. My eyes were blue. Like I could only, like, it was a blue tint over my eyes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it
that's
was like this. Yeah, a bluish silvery. It was actually really pretty looking. But I don't want to see another one. I don't need to see another one. Like, that's all right. I'm good.
Yeah.
And the mushrooms that you saw, yeah, wow. I have told so many people your story since then. Oh my goodness. I've never heard one like that. Incredible.
I've been asking people what they think about mushroom people and stuff like that, trying to get, like, maybe somebody else has experienced this.
Right. There's got to be somebody. There's got to be other people.
There has to be. Tony Merkel told me that he was gonna put it in his Reddit and see if anybody comes up with anything.
Nice.
I haven't heard anything about it yet, but
okay. Have you
Um,
posted it? Do you know in the Reddit yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how to operate Reddit, so
Yeah, I don't know.
I would never be able to see if he did do it
Oh,
or not.
okay.
But he did say that somebody else runs his Reddit. Like he's not
Okay.
hands on with like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, that's right.
but
So, okay. So now on this same road, right?
yeah,
On Long Meadow and Battlefield, we've got we had the or heard the Bigfoot sighting,
yep.
and then the orb that I saw, and then the portal that I saw and went through. So this brings me to the day before I met you at Crypticon. So it was November 16th
Yeah.
last year. It was the night before having to leave to go to Crypticon. I forgot that I had left my drills. I had 2 drills. I left both of my drills at my parents' house. So it was getting dark. So I said, I better run over there now. Run over there, grab it. As soon as I leave, we're talking like it's probably 6:05, 6:10 at night. It's pitch dark. And so I'm going out of the neighborhood. I turn right. As soon as I turn right, I see this guy on the side of the road, and he's got on this gray jacket, like, and like it's dark gray, and then he has these even darker gray pants on, and he's wearing this hat. And see, I kept rolling through it in my head. Okay, like this couldn't have been a ghost. This couldn't have been a ghost at all. It had to have been just some guy walking on the side of the road, wearing an old jacket, wearing, trousers. But that hat is not a hat anyone would wear nowadays. It was an old Civil War hat. It's not the kind of hat, like these days you see people wearing anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like everybody wears whatever the heck they want. Just go to Walmart. But
Just go to Walmart.
But this guy, it was a soldier. I know it was a soldier, but I kept telling myself, okay, no. It couldn't have been,
Yeah.
But when I break it down though, and I see that hat, yeah, it was a soldier. And there again, it brings me to the Battle of Piedmont, which is like behind my parents' house, basically. Like, I mean, it just incredible. It was incredible to see that. He was just walking on the side of the road, had his head, of course, totally down, not even really looking ahead, just head down. So I was really excited about that because I had just seen it the night before I met you and other people at Crypticons. I was like trying to tell people, I think I just saw a Civil War soldier last night.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah,
Like,
so this road, Long Meadow that turns into Battlefield, it has, obviously it's so rich in history. And like I said, there's farms everywhere. It's gorgeous scenery. Why wouldn't you see Bigfoot or an orb and a portal? I mean, seriously, the Shenandoah National Park is 20 minutes down the road. We're surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains. I mean, it's which is a lot of the habitat that you kind of hear these stories happening in. So I tell you, I have to go Long Meadow to Battlefield to go see my parents, which is like almost every day I go see them. And I tell you, both every time I go and every time I come back, I am like eyes wide open, looking everywhere for something.
I would be too. I would be too. I
Yes,
kind of want to go down there now
you
and like
should.
walk around the woods and
Right?
stuff. I don't know, and
Oh
just like see
man.
what I can find.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about like doing getting into like the documentary scene and stuff
Oh
like that. You know what
yeah.
I mean? As well.
That.
So like
Uh-huh.
kind of like Tony Merkel does. He's always got
Right.
this podcast, and he got his Merkel Media stuff for
Yep.
his documentaries and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just
We tried to get Tony at Encounter Quest, but he was already taken like for that week.
oh, okay.
Yeah, he's doing like
Yeah.
some recordings or something.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah, that
he's
would you would be great at that. You should look into that to do
yeah,
it.
that's I think that's a part of the reason why I got the camcorder too that
Yeah.
I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
But I want to start with the Spectre Moose. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So it's this gigantic moose. The rack is like on its head is like two or three of the normal size, it's just
Yeah.
freaking out there, and it's white.
Oh.
And so like well, first of all, like albinos are moose are obviously rare.
Mm-hmm.
Albino, like any kind of animal, is pretty rare, but they
Mm-hmm.
do exist for real, for real.
Yeah.
Like not woo woo or paranormal
Yeah.
stuff, but the very first sighting, this guy was like so like enamored. He was in like this like shock of seeing it, and they were hunting moose,
Oh
and this thing
wow.
is huge, and it was like gave this like ghostly like appearance, and
Oh
he
yeah.
decided not to shoot it.
Yeah.
And then he waited a week before he told anybody about it, which makes me
Wow.
think that like he actually experienced, like he
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody right away or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then it's here in Maine where I'm from, and it's like Lobster Lake or something like that it's called. And then this guy from New York came and saw it as well, and almost similar thing.
Yeah.
Like just was like in awe and was
It's so
like felt this.
majestical looking or whatever.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah, and
bet.
it's like yeah. So I want to try and find people
Yeah.
with the experiences with that and stuff, and explore the area. And if anything really comes of it, it'd be like a documentary on the area in moose.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, like actual moose. So,
Right.
um,
That's awesome.
and it's like 3 hours away from me, so like I could
Yeah.
do that on the weekends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, where like doing something like so I want to do the Indiana State Sanatorium, and then Battle of what Piedmont.
Yeah.
Piedmont.
Yeah.
If I do, that would be like uh like traveling for like a couple weeks or something like
Yeah.
that to do that.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be awesome. That would
but
be awesome.
we shall see. I did a tarot reading the other day, and it said big things are coming. So maybe you never know.
You can make it happen.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe
Yeah.
it. So, with that, do you what got you like what was that first experience that really like solidified your belief in everything and all things weird?
So when I was 12, I saw what I believe to be my guardian angel.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a friend's birthday party. She was doing a sleepover. My best friend Caitlin was also invited, so it was me and Caitlin, and Holly was the girl's name. And so, we get there, we're having fun, and Holly's like, "Oh well, let's play a game." So of course we're all, "Oh yeah, okay, let's play a game." And Holly said, "Oh well, let's play the Ouija board." And I grew up in a Christian home, and I had always been taught you never touch a Ouija board. It's a portal. Don't ever touch it. I'd heard stories growing up of what had happened to people that had messed with them. And so it was ingrained in me, never touch a Ouija board. So when Holly said that, I was like, no. Yeah. And so she and the other girls were like, well, why not? Why? Come on, Jessica. It's just a game. I said, no, let's play something else. And they kept pushing and pushing. Come on, Jessica, let's play it. And I said, I put my foot down and I said, no, you get the Ouija board out. I'm calling my mom and I'm leaving. And they're like, I remember all of them just being like, fine, Jessica. And so we ended up playing Sorry, like one of those board games, Sorry. And we had a great night. We had fun. Yeah. Well, so then that night when we're sleeping, so here's the bed and Holly is asleep here. Here's her head is here. Her feet are here.
Yeah. And
us girls were on the floor. So I'm at her feet and my head's here. And then my best friend Caitlin's beside me. And then there were two other girls. And then at the wall was a dresser with a mirror. So anyway, I have really bad eyesight and like really bad. I had the Coke bottle glasses, still do. I was made fun of badly in school. So when I would go and spend the night at somebody's house, I would always sleep with my glasses on because I wasn't about waking up in the middle of the night, not remembering where I was and not being able to see where my glasses are. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So fell asleep with my glasses on. I woke up and when you wake up in the middle of the night, you just kind of turn around, whatever. Oh yeah, I'm here at Holly's. All right. And go back to sleep. Well, I did that. But when I went to look around, I turned around to look at Holly's bed and I see like this girl sitting on her bed. And I'm like, wait, is this Holly? And the way she was sitting, and I can't really show you that well, but she's sitting with she's sitting with her leg, one of her legs up, and she is holding a mirror, a hand mirror, and she's brushing her hair. Just brushing her hair. And she's just looking in the mirror, brushing her hair. And I'm like, Holly? And nothing. She won't look at me. She's just looking in her mirror, brushing her hair. And I'm like, Holly. And then I realize what I'm looking at is a beautiful little girl who is about my age. And she's glowing white. I mean, glowing white. But she has like that the gray feature, so that you can see the features.
Yeah.
So it's like the gray with the beautiful white.
Mm.
And then I start freaking out because I realize I'm seeing something I'm not supposed to see, like, and so I'm like, Holly, like, and it's our Holly. And so I start waking up my best friend, Caitlin. I'm like, she's one of those people you would never want to wake up because she's just grouchy. And I'm like, Holly. I mean, I'm like, Caitlin. And she's like, what? And I said, what is Holly doing? And she turned around and looked. She's like, she's sleeping, Jessica, like you're supposed to be. She's sleeping. I said, no, seriously, what is she doing? And Caitlin would turn, she's sleeping, Jessica. She's sleeping. Caitlin would turn around and look. She's sleeping. Every time Caitlin would turn around and look up at Holly's bed, this girl, this thing, she had a hood on because she would pull the hoodie up over her head like this whenever Caitlin would look at her. And then when Caitlin would look away, she'd put the hoodie back and just go back to combing her hair, brushing her hair.
Whoa.
It was wild, right? And so I'm this 12-year-old kid. seeing this. So I start freaking out. And of course, I start waking everybody up. And so Holly's legs, she starts moving because she's waking up, because I'm like, Kaylin, what's going on? Holly, what are you doing? And so Holly wakes up. And so as soon as Holly starts moving around, this thing levitates up off the bed. And then this bright white light shines from out of her back and goes into that mirror that was on the dresser. That white light shines into that mirror, fills up the mirror, fills up the entire room with that beautiful, brightest, whitest light. And then it's gone. Like because when that light shone out of her back, she then went into the mirror, the whole entire place filled with that white, brilliant white light. And then that was it. And so I shot up from being on the floor. I shot up and I said, okay, everybody saw that, right? I know you did. You had to have seen that. And they were like, what is going on, Jessica? You're freaking us out. What are you seeing? And so then I just start bawling my eyes out. I run to the bathroom. Caitlin tries to, console me. Like, she's like, what is this crazy girl? And so even at 12, I was praying at the same time, I'm crying, and I'm like, I don't want to call my mom yet, because I know this was a spiritual thing and I know that I'm okay. So this happened at 5 a.m.
Wow.
And so I told myself, I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to lay down and I'm just going to sit there until 8 o'clock. And as soon as 8 o'clock comes, I am calling my mom and I'm leaving. And that's exactly what I did. And as soon as I got in that car and shut the door, I start bawling my eyes out, and my mom is thinking, what in the world happened to my child at this, sleepover? She's like, what happened? So I told my mom what happened. And so my grandma, my mom's mom, she was one of the big ladies in the church. Like, she was the prayer warrior. She was the one that if someone passed away or someone was sick, you'd call her, to ask for prayer. So my mom called my grandma and asked her to pray about what it was that I saw, to see if she could figure it out. And so my grandma felt the same way I did, that it was my guardian angel that was protecting me from the things that were in that house. Because I feel like God knew I was sensitive anyway to this stuff, and that I was going to be sensitive to this stuff. And that when I'm around things like that, I have to completely shut, I can't be around that stuff, where I have to shut myself away from it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's once that happened, it's kind of like this spiritual door opens. Really. And that's kind of when I guess my ability or whatever really started to come forth. Yeah, but
that's interesting. That would have scared the crap out of me.
I mean, 12-year-old girl. Yeah. I mean, as a 12-year-old kid, and you're with your peers, and you're having
and you're
something.
the only one seeing it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I will never forget jumping up and putting my arms out saying, okay, everybody saw that, right? Because the whole room just engulfed in that bright white light. Like, to me, there was no doubt that, they had to have seen it. So, yeah. actually talked to that friend maybe like 10 years ago and said, "You remember that?" She said, "Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that did happen." So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Do you think it's because the Ouija board was there, or do you think it's because somebody used it or it had been used?
I think, yeah, I think all of that. I think,
Okay.
it had been used. It was there. And like, even at 12, I still had, I was a Christian at 12, so I still had that relationship with
Yeah.
God. And so I feel like even at 12, he was protecting me. Yeah. Like, even to this day, if I I love going to antique shops. But
Yeah.
even before I go into an antique shop, I have to pray, because I feel I feel the spirits. I can feel their energy, and it's like I get an automatic headache when I'm around some of that stuff, I guess. Or if I go into an old home, I have to also pray before I go into old homes. And of course, there are times when I forget and something tries to latch on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Can I ask you, do you have activity in the house that you're in right now?
nope.
No,
Nope.
because of the protections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing like this clicking noise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I'm curious to listen back to this
Yeah.
because it started right when you started talking about the bubbles,
Oh, wow.
and it hasn't stopped since. It's like it'll start, it's like
Huh.
every like once in a while.
Yeah. Wow, that's neat. But I mean, really, I haven't had anything happen here, thank the Lord, except for that, black
That
mass and
yeah.
yeah. But that's been it. Hopefully nothing else.
Yeah.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you.
Are you into weird shit? Yeah?
You into cryptids?
What about hauntings? Yeah, I've got a ghost for you.
Oh, you like otherworldly beings?
Me too. Check out all these aliens. We have plenty. How do you feel about a good legend?
Want to hear about spooky happenings?
Yeah, you do.
Let us show you what we've got.
Hey guys, grab a drink and join us, Amanda and Sean, every week while we dive into the strange and haunting topics that have piqued our interest.
See you over at The Haunted and the Strange, wherever you get your podcasts.
Stay spooky.
So the girl you saw at the sleepover, obviously, I don't think she didn't seem malevolent. So
Right. Oh yeah, no, it was like she was just there to really, I feel like, just to watch over and protect me.
okay.
Yeah,
That
no,
does make
just
sense, actually.
yeah, like, I mean, I was only scared at the fact that I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, and like
Right.
what I was looking at, yeah, to me that was just something I knew existed. I knew angels existed. I've taught that, in the Bible and this and that, but to see it is just wow. So I was scared in that aspect, but I didn't feel no negativity whatsoever. She was just doing her own thing, kind of. And since then, I've heard other stories of people seeing their guardian angels, and it's like the guardian angel tends to be the same age that you are. And so when I first heard that, I thought, oh my goodness, that makes sense, because she looked like 12-year-old kid.
12-year-old
She
girl,
really
yeah.
did. Yeah. just yeah. So
That's interesting. I never heard that.
yeah.
So I would like to see if I have a guardian angel. I'd like to see
Mm-hmm.
them. Maybe I have seen them and I just subconsciously locked it away or something silly
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
Because
Yeah. You never know. Right.
like the
With the
mushroom
mushroom.
experience was locked
Right.
away.
Yeah.
So
I'd thought of doing that, like you did.
yeah.
Gosh, it scares me to think of stuff that I've locked away.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't
wow.
the only memory that came out of it. It came there was an ugly memory that came with it. So
yeah, I bet.
But yeah, no, I was just I was trying to heal from
From other thing, yeah.
Yeah, from the childhood stuff, and
Yeah.
that came out of it, and I was like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Wow. Wow. It's incredible.
It is.
It
It
really
just
is.
this world is so interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, they've supposedly scientifically proved that there's alternate timelines. So, like on like a we're in a realm. There's other ones.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Who knows what's going on in those.
It's funny that you say that because my boyfriend had shown me this video, and it's something with a light. Gosh, and it has to do with quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
And it's like this experiment shows that light has the ability to travel in the future and in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it like is clearly shown in this experiment. It's on YouTube. It's crazy. And it makes sense. I don't know if you've heard, but like there's like a saying or something. I don't know how it goes, but like people who tend to dive into like quantum mechanics and quantum physics, trying to find out more about life and all, like they tend to find God when they're searching because they're going deep. They're going super deep. And when he showed me that with the quantum mechanics experiment, I thought that's where you find God, because like this light is traveling in the future and then again in the past. It's so weird. It's just it's amazing.
Yeah. What I was gonna ask you a question that's related to that, and now I forgot it because I heard something and I thought something was coming after me for a second, and I had to look. I looked and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Oh gosh.
Shoot, what was I gonna say?
Oh.
God damn it! That's all right.
I'm the worst with that.
Yeah.
I lose
It happens at least once every time I'm with somebody. I'll just be like, I had a thought,
yeah.
and then it went, and everybody listens like, dude, get your shit together. We're sick of hearing this, topic come up every episode.
Oh my gosh, I'm classic for doing that. So you're fine. You're totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that I do like about listening to encounters, doing events as a vendor. It is these stories we hear are so awesome, especially the ones where the people, you'll see like a lady who's patiently waiting kind of in the background, and she's waiting for other customers to leave, and then she'll timidly walk up to you and she'll say, do you really believe in this stuff? You say, yeah, we do. And then, well, I think I might have them on my property. I've never told anybody about this. And then just starts spilling the beans about what they've experienced. And it really is. It's so awesome. It's so humbling that they would feel comfortable to come up to us, and just telling us stories they have never told anybody before. It's so awesome. And I hope they
I
never
bet
stop doing that.
yeah, me too. Well, I bet it
Really.
has something to do with God.
I do.
I can
That's what I
almost
feel.
guarantee it. It's like something you're here to do, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. That's how we've kind of chosen to look at it.
Yeah, because
But
you're not collecting these stories and selling
mm-mm,
them. You're not
mm-mm.
recording them like I am. You're just talking and
Yeah.
engaging with people. So
Right.
it's
And
almost
then
like a calling.
yeah. And then like because I want to connect those dots. I
Yeah.
really want to find out what these things are 100%. And like, for example, about that, there's a super nice customer at one of our events, and he had bought our Mothman T-shirt,
Yep.
and he said it reminds him of what he saw when he was younger in California with his parents. And he tells us about how he saw a bird man. I mean, that's the only way to describe it really. Is it was like the body of a human, but the head of a bird and the wings of a bird. And his parents saw it with him. And when he got older, he Googled it. Sure enough, found out in this specific area of California, there's a tribe of Indians that have known forever about the Birdman, and they even talk about when the Birdman would make himself be seen or allow himself to be seen. So like it is a thing. And so like Jeff and I were just like, wow, that is incredible. That is amazing. And not even a week after hearing his story, I'm talking to this contractor here down the road, and he's like, "Is that your Bigfoot truck?" And with the Bigfoot on there, I was like, "Yeah, that's mine." I said, "Oh my gosh!" And then he starts talking to me, and he said, "I'm an avid hunter, but I've never had anything happen to me before. I've never seen anything, but I fully believe something could be there." And he said, I actually had a guy that I used to work with that approached me a couple years ago, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, I know that you hunt. Have you ever been out there and seen anything weird?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" And this guy said, "Well, I was out hiking over the weekend, and I saw all I can describe is this bird man." He said it had the body of a man, the head of a bird, and wings like a bird. He said he came upon this just walking on the trail and just came upon this thing. And when the bird man realized that he had been seen, it went behind the tree.
Uh-huh.
And he said the tree was smaller than the bird, so the bird man, whatever. So it was like peeking around to see if he had left yet. And he's just freaking out, obviously. And then he just turns and takes off running. But he does. He left.
Right.
So it scared him so much that he couldn't, felt like he could ask his friend at work, who ended up being the contractor that I talked to, about Birdman. And so I ended up telling him about this guy's story, that when he was a kid in California. So I was like, I love hearing stories like that, because that's two dots that have been connected.
In a short period of time, too.
Right. In less than a week. I mean, my mind was blown, because we had seen this guy on a Saturday, and then I talked to the contractor on Tuesday.
Wow.
Like, Birdman, like, what the heck? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was wild. So now I'm like kind of zoned in on Birdman.
That's
and
an interesting
the cool
one.
thing too, like with Encounter Quest, kind of to go back to that, because of hearing about Birdman, and I've kind of heard a little bit like with Thunderbirds and stuff here and there.
Yeah.
But like with Encounter Quest, we want it to be different. We don't, that's why it's like not your average cryptid event is our slogan. We want it to be different. Yeah, people are going to talk about Bigfoot, but we want to throw in, like, for example, Ken Gerhardt. He's known as like the go-to person for Thunderbirds. So we're going to have Ken talk about Thunderbirds. There's not many cryptid events you can go to where you're going to hear about Thunderbirds, It's mainly going to be like Bigfoot, Dogman.
The popular ones.
Yeah, which Dogman, we had we had that our last event.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenny talked about that at our last event because Dogman, wow, Dogman.
Yeah,
there
that's
no,
scary.
Yeah,
That's the only one that like really scares me.
yeah, yes,
And
me
that's
too.
that's the one that I think that I encountered.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you talk about it on one of your podcasts? Because I'll have to.
I talk about it on several podcasts. I told actually Drew and Zook all my stories pretty much on their
Wow.
podcast. So
Okay, I'm gonna go and listen to it.
yeah, it's
So you don't have to repeat yourself, but
I didn't know what the fuck it was. But
gosh,
after I started listening, because it happened in 2016, and
you survived
just
it, so that's
yeah,
good.
I was. It was one of the more scarier things that had ever happened to me because I couldn't tell what it was,
Yeah.
but I could just see the eyes, and my dogs were with me, and I just I grabbed my gun and sat on my couch because I thought it was gonna come in the house.
Oh my gosh.
So like the more
Wow.
stories, like the more podcasts that I listen to, the more I'm like, I think I can encounter a dog man.
Wow.
So yeah, it
Oh my
was
gosh.
freaky as hell.
Yeah.
And yeah, and all my experiences and listening to like Tony Merkel and stuff like that, it
Yeah.
inspired me to just really start this.
Yeah.
And I mean it's I want people to feel comfortable to tell their stories, and know that I'm not gonna think they're crazy like
Yeah.
some people might.
Yes.
Mental health is really important with all this stuff, and that's what I like to perpetuate. Like, you
Mhm.
take care of your mental health. Tell your story. Get it out there. There's you never know, or even just listen to the podcast or other podcasts that are similar to this, just
Yeah.
because somebody might have similar experience to you,
Yeah,
and
that
it
would
could
help
just like
you.
kind of give you a peace of mind. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So,
Absolutely.
and now I remember the question that I was going to ask you. It sounds like they didn't, but did your parents ever make you feel crazy for telling them, like your mom, when you cried to her about this
No.
incident?
And I thank the Lord for that because I've heard other stories where, yeah, the parents are like, stop, you were dreaming.
Yeah.
No, my mom and my dad, my entire family were so supportive. Like they knew I saw something, like they
Yeah.
1,000% believed me, especially with my reaction to it. Just the sobbing uncontrollably. Like they knew something terrifying had happened to me. So yeah, it was. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have that support. And
Yeah.
my heart breaks for other people that go through that.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. Like, even like, okay, so at events and stuff, even if we have someone that comes up to us that, say, for example, might sound crazy in what their beliefs are or whatever, we still don't count them off as crazy. Anything
Right.
to us, because we're Christians, I feel like as a Christian, you already believe in paranormal. You believe in a God. That's paranormal.
Yeah.
And so anything spiritual should not shouldn't surprise you to an extent, like that's what my feeling is. So
Yeah.
when people come up to us, for example, one of the first events we went to, this guy was talking about like how he had Bigfoots on his property and they came through it from a portal, and the aliens were controlling the Bigfoots. And I'm thinking, this is incredible. I want to hear more. Like, really? What? Even if he's wrong, like even if I don't know if he's wrong, right? Like, even if he's lying straight through his teeth, I'm still going to listen to him. I'm still going to give him that respect, right? Like, and I want to know, because if I'm trying to find out the truth, I got to listen to everything, regardless of how crazy it may sound. So you could tell other people were like, kind of like, oh, that's that guy. That's what, he's the weird alien Bigfoot guy. Like, you could tell, you could feel it. But oh my gosh, I sat there and talked to him for hours. I wanted to know everything. He's telling me, I mean, somebody walks up to you and says, I got Bigfoot on my property. They're coming through on a portal. We got aliens. The aliens are controlling them. But he's like, aliens control Bigfoot, but these Bigfoot went rogue. So they're their own family pact, and they come through on my property. I mean, and then he talks about how, and Dog Man sometimes comes through and this and that. And I'm just like, mind blown, right? Like, I'm like, please have a seat. Tell me everything. Seriously. And I kid you not, this was years ago. Now that you're hearing more about the alien, UFO, Bigfoot phenomenon, this guy was spot on with everything. I mean, seriously, it has blown my mind how many times I go back to, wow, that matches up with what he was saying.
Yeah.
And we were the only ones there that were giving him the time of day, that were that wanted to listen to hear what this guy had to say. And like, I totally believe him. And what he went through. Like,
I'm gonna have to print up a whole thing of business cards and give them to you, just
there you
to
go.
strictly have.
Yeah, say this is the guy you got to go to his podcast. Yep.
Yeah.
Go to Kevin.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, was that you making all the noise out there? You silly goose.
Oh, is it a dog or a cat?
Yeah, she's the dog. She usually lays on her bed right here next to my feet while I record, but she decided not to join me tonight for some reason. So she must have been out there walking around. That's why I kept like going, like, what the hell's happening?
That's cute.
Well,
That's
Jess,
cute.
I'm gonna have to have you come back on for like a round 2, because I just looked at the time right before she came walking in.
Oh yeah, wow, okay.
We're almost at 2 hours,
Yeah.
and Riverside's gonna shut it off.
Awesome.
At 2 hours.
Oh.
So,
awesome. Yeah, I would love to come back, because I have really done recently extensive research into what I think everything is.
Okay.
And honestly, it connects every single dot.
Oh shit.
So yeah, like my mind was so blown when I saw it. Like, I think a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
That when I went to see my doctor the next day, I had to tell him all about it. And my doctor, he's hilarious. If he's never been into Bigfoot, but now that I'm into Bigfoot, like, and I tell him the stories, he'll call me in the middle of his day and be like, "Hey Jess, did you see that Bigfoot sighting that was on Fox News? You got to check that out."
That's hilarious.
It is so, because he is crazy busy. like crazy busy, but he still finds time in the day to call to let me know stuff if he sees anything about Bigfoot, which is awesome. So when I feel like I had that eureka moment, I had to tell him all about it. So anyway,
maybe we can record in person when at Encounter Quest or something, or that weekend or something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Either, something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out either way.
Yeah.
So,
awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. I mean, I really appreciate it, because without people like you, I'd just be talking to myself. And I mean, I do that anyway, but I just don't know if it'd be really that entertaining for people to listen to. And time is the most expensive currency, so I appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
It was fun.
Do you have anything that you want to plug other than Encounter Quest, like socials or anything?
Oh yeah, so my business with my brother, Broken Branch Designs. My brother's the artist, so everything we do is one of a kind. He will draw it, and then I take his drawings and just put it on t-shirts, mugs, shower curtains, blankets, whatever, underwear, whatever.
I like that. That's awesome.
But you can find us at brokenbranchdesignslllc.com. Yeah. And then of course encounterquest.com. Please go check out our website. Try to come and see us. It should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
It sounds like it just from the speakers.
Thank you.
So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, you too,
person.
Kevin.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be great to meet your son. Is your daughter coming too, or?
It's her birthday weekend that weekend. Her birthday will be, let's see, it's the 13th.
Yeah.
And her birthday is the 14th, so her birthday's on Sunday. And I was like, you want to come to North Carolina? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, God damn it. But I took a Monday off, so Sunday will probably be the day that I travel, and then I'll probably take her out to dinner or breakfast or something on Monday for her birthday.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it'll just be me and my son. Then I was gonna bring my dog, but we can't have dogs.
Oh,
in there,
I know. I'm so sorry. That sucks.
Right.
I would bring mine too.
Yeah. I thought about because you can get the harnesses that say service dog, even though they're not service dogs. I thought for a real quick second, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that to her.
You still
my
can.
My luck, she'll start going over to everybody trying to lick them and stuff and be like, this ain't no service dog.
Oh yeah, that would be my dogs. They never met a person that they don't like ever. They'll lick you to death. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's cute.
Well, guys, that is the show. So look out for part 2 with Jess, and we're gonna get into, obviously you already heard it, some interesting stuff. But please go check out her website for her the t-shirts and all that, and the Encounter Quest stuff, because you should probably go there if you're interested in events, especially if you're in the area. But other than that, follow, share, subscribe. That's pretty much the best way to help the show grow. Leave a rating or review. That also helps. The website, wheretheweirdonesarepodcast.com, you can leave a rating on there as well. The Patreon is up. So if you guys are interested, it's only $5. You get a free mug, the extra segment story time, where I tell stories in a story format, hence story time, and bonus episodes and early access. So, if you're interested, obviously you don't have to. It's not a big deal. So with that, question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. If you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky. When the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish.